Good Friday morning, my friends. This is MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa. Welcome to the MLive Morning Weather Update brought to you by Lush Lawn. And I've been telling you about some cold air on the way, and it looks like things are coming around to my thinking and to accumulating snow. So let's get on into it. Just want you to be forewarned because I think it could come down a little bit more than you'd expect. We do get snow, obviously, in late March and early April here in Michigan. This is a couple of inch snow in some places, and I'll detail that for you here. All right, current radar doesn't show a whole lot. There are some patches of light snow, light drizzle around that don't really show up real well on radar. But that'll be a different story for this afternoon, this evening rather, and overnight tonight. So looking at the satellite picture, kind of socked in by clouds, some clearing out over Lake Michigan, trying to head this way. So we may have a break in the cloudiness and a little bit of sunshine, believe it or not. And then you see the storm system off on the far left part of the screen in Wisconsin. That's what will be heading this way overnight tonight. Here it is. This is the radar forecast for you. This is of the model that I like in this kind of situation. So let's go through to noon today. And it's pretty quiet. So if you're traveling today, you really don't have any problems, so to speak, as far as winter driving conditions today. Let's go to 4, 5, 6 o'clock. Still in the quote-unquote heat of the day. You'll get some rain showers developing on the west side of the state, maybe mixed with some wet snow. And then as we go to the night, we're at 9 o'clock tonight. It starts to change over to snow, 10, 11, midnight, and it starts to swing into the eastern part of the state, Saginaw Valley, the Thumb, Elizabeth Platte. What will the weather be like for Muskegon today? Rain developing in the afternoon and changing to snow, as you can see, by late evening. And then here we are, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning. Look at that. It's snowing. It's snowing solidly in the Thumb, Saginaw, Bay City, Flint, Lansing, maybe Jackson, Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo. 6 o'clock in the morning, 7, 8. Look at that. It's into Detroit and it's into Ann Arbor and Jackson. How about tomorrow? We're driving to Florida. Ron Heffelbauer. You should only have really a issue in Michigan tomorrow morning. The stuff in Ohio probably is spurts of wet snow, not sticking. And then once you get into the daylight hours south, it will be okay. So you're not perfect, but you're not terrible either. You probably won't have that nightmare snowstorm in Ohio or something like that. Let's see. This is Saturday morning, 10, 11, noon. So the first burst of snow moves through overnight tonight, tomorrow morning, and then we get into tomorrow evening and another patch of snow, not as widespread, not as heavy. This is midnight Sunday. You're welcome, Ron. And Saturday night, and then this is Sunday morning sunrise. It's starting to kind of just become isolated patches of lake effect snow. All right, how much? This is using that same model, and I think it is a real good idea of what will pile up. So what you're looking at is, Saginaw, the Thumb, Flint, Lapeer. Let's call it 1 to 3 inches of snow. And Elizabeth Platte, the rest of March is cold. We'll get into that in a second here. Southwest corner, south of Grand Rapids, 2 or 3 inches of snow. The largest area of solid snow in lower Michigan will fall from Traverse City, Kalkaska, Leelanau County, all of Benzie County, down through Cadillac to Manistee, Ludington, Pentwater, and maybe north of Big Rapids. That's a 2 to 4 inch snow area there. And then Ann Arbor, Detroit, Jackson, Kalamazoo, Lansing, probably less than an inch of snow. All right, what's going on into the future after our snow tonight? We're going to look at the European model out to 10 days. Okay, so here is our cold flow tomorrow. Look at that circulation. Let's see, Jay Griffin, when is the snowstorm that was talked about in the headline the other day? We're going to see that here. It would be Tuesday or Wednesday, and it's going to depend on where you're at. Now, bear in mind, that storm is still out in the Pacific, so I'm trying to target for you, but there's an incredible temperature gradient in late March. You'll see that in a second. So depends on where you're at, and depends on the track of the storm. So keep an eye on it. Don't put it down as a sure bet for a snowstorm. This is Sunday. We're cold on Sunday. I'll show that to you too. And we're cold on Monday. And we're cold on Tuesday. Now the next storm system that you're asking about. This is Tuesday night, Wednesday. And there's a warm front trying to come in. The European has latched onto this for the last couple of days after being a colder solution. And now this is Wednesday afternoon. It gets us in lower Michigan into the warm sector of the storm. Right there almost could be, depending on the timing, could be a severe weather outbreak in southern lower Michigan. And then here comes the strong cold front Thursday afternoon. And then here comes the wind and the cold and the snow again behind the storm. So if it follows this track, and remember, I talked to you a couple of days ago, I might have jumped the gun by one day on the snowstorm. We'll have to see. The trend now is that it's a shot of yuck to a warmer temperature pattern, thunderstorms, and then back to snow and wind. That usually cuts the amounts of snow and doesn't turn it into a snowstorm, just turns it into just a really nasty kind of weather situation. Let's continue it out then. So we're at next Friday. We're in the cold and the snow once again. Look at that. That looks again like February. And we take it out to the end of this run, 10 days out, April 3rd. Yeah, the cold trying to let up, but it's still there. So if we see anything that feels like spring, it's not going to be until between, let's say, April 5th and April 10th. Or so. Temperatures. High temperature today in the mid 40s. Tomorrow, 30s on the west side of the state, 40s, low 40s east side. Sunday, flat out cold. Do you think the snow will be gone in April? Carrie Draper asks. I think we're going to have one more snow, at least in April. Monday in the 30s, cold. Tuesday, 30s to near 40. Wednesday, temperature gradient, storm system. And look at that, from 60s in the south to 50s to going from Grand Rapids maybe in the 50s to maybe 40 in Big Rapids to low 30s, northern lower Michigan. So that right there just says that we have to keep an eye on Wednesday because of the temperature gradient. Thursday, ahead of the cold front, could be very spring-like. And then look at Friday, back to highs of wintry proportions, only in the lower 30s, and next Saturday and April 3rd, Sunday. So I guess I can't sugarcoat it for you. You see it right there. It's none to springy at all in this forecast, except for a few 6-hour windows if we get in the warm sector of that storm next week. Then we got to start thinking about severe weather because we have the strong jet stream, the strong low pressure systems, and things crank up. So it's a very, very active weather pattern. I'll keep you updated on here. Right now, the first thing to deal with is tomorrow morning. If you're going somewhere, you might want to give yourself some extra time. You might find an inch or two of snow on the roads, and it can be slick. So be careful there. Give yourself some extra time. We'll get through it. Spring always wins. We just don't know if it'll be April or May. I think it will be late April. This has got to give up pretty soon. And in the end, this is probably a good feature. This is keeping our fruit trees in Michigan from getting too far ahead. And if we get a cold blast in March, early April, in my estimation, my experience, it moves out in the late part of April, is nice and springy and not frosty and whatnot. So there's probably some good behind what's coming on here. Hey, thanks for joining me on the MLive Morning Weather Update. I'm MLive Chief Meteorologist Mark Torregrossa. This update brought to you by Lush Lawn.